Three, two, one. Robotics assemble. All right, sweet. Okay, hello and welcome to Robotics Assemble, the award-winning podcast in which today we are joined by Team 317. Oh wait, that's a larger number than I was expecting. 31774, the Cryptic Cookies. And today we're just gonna be talking about FLL, the challenges, and just we're gonna have a lot of fun. So how about we introduce everyone? Basically say your name and then tell me what's your favorite type of candy. All right, starting with whoever.
I'll start. Hi, I'm Heather Bjorn, and I am the coach of the Cryptic Cookies, Bits and Bots. And my favorite candy by far and away is Good and Plenty's.
Hi, I'm Ben, and my favorite candy is any chocolate type of candy.
Hi, my name's Ani. My favorite candy is either Haribo gummies, and specifically Fizzy Cola, or peanut butter cups.
Nice. Hello, I'm Nikhil, and my favorite candy, it's kind of a controversial one, but I like peanut M&Ms. I think they're pretty good. But turns out all of my friends hate them, so not a very popular choice.
That's nice. Then you don't have competition for the candy.
Exactly. So they have it, and I take all of it, especially during Halloween. It's pretty nice. So yeah, let's just get right into the questions. So, what is the FLL challenge this year for 2021? And
The FLL challenge this year is called Replay, and so for our project portion, we are supposed to identify a problem and solve a problem specifically about increasing people's exercise.
increasing people's exercise. Nice. You said that was your challenge part. Is there another part to the challenge as well, or to the competition?
Yes, so there's also the robot game when we have to program our robot that are either made from Lego Mindstorms or Spike Prime. And there's 14 missions that we try to complete in under 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
You have to complete 14 missions in 2 minutes and 30 seconds?
You try to.
Yeah. You don't have to complete all of the missions, but we're very into the robot, so I think we're attempting at least parts of basically every single mission.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay.
So I was going to say that every year FLL releases a challenge, and that theme is runs through all three aspects of FLL. So FLL has the robot game, it has the project where they have to research an innovative solution related to the topic, and then they have to come up with a solution and hopefully make a prototype and then present it to interested community members after meeting with experts. And then they also have core values where they demonstrate teamwork. And the theme runs all the way through each of those three areas. So the challenges this year on the robot game are related to exercise. So there's a strength machine, there's a rowing machine, there's a pull-up bar, basketball, and the missions is the challenges for the robot to autonomously complete those missions.
Wow. That's actually pretty similar to like what they did this year with FRC as well, because they kind of split it up as we can't really work on our robot. We have like different type of challenges that we have to do, like one that is one that is based on research, and then that was also a lot of it was about fitness. I think they had a very like prominent theme about fitness through all the challenges this year as well. And like another one is just creating a game type, and I think our final one was just like explaining what our bot does to like what our last year bot did and how we worked on it and improved on it from last year, I guess. So yeah, it's pretty similar, I think. And it's nice that like you guys do a lot with your robot autonomously. I think that's actually super cool, like making your robot play basketball. Like, do you have to shoot hoops or something, or how does that work?
Well, for this mission, it's not actually shooting hoops, but you have to raise the basketball hoop so it's on a bar, and you can either raise it to the middle height or the top height. So the robot has to be able to lift the basketball rim to the top height, I guess.
But
Ooh.
there is one mission called the pull-up bar where our robot doesn't do it, but we attempt a different part of the mission, but where you have your robot like lift itself up onto this bar, and it's like the whole bar is made out of Legos, so it's like
Oh,
not
that's not.
incredibly strong.
Oh, so you have to make sure your robot is like light so it doesn't like
Yeah.
bend the bar or something. That's pretty awesome.
That's part of the
Uh,
challenge of the robot game because they create the missions so some missions will be more successful. You'll be more successful completing them if you have a big, strong robot, right? But then other missions, you would be much more successful if you have a light, small robot. So you have to really strategize and figure out what type of robot will get you the most points, and then you commit to it and go that way.
I see. And then you have to do all of these challenges within that 2 minutes and 30 seconds time limit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, it's a very pesky time limit. Right now, the team is currently 3 seconds over the time limit, so they're strategizing on how to cut those 3 seconds out.
Yeah.
3 seconds or 30 seconds over?
3 seconds.
3. Okay. Yeah,
Thank
3
goodness.
seconds.
Yes.
Okay. So like how is it like scored up in like points? How does that work with the challenge?
So each mission you do get like a certain number of points. I think the max points this year I think is around 600-ish, but
600.
you also can get points taken away if you have to like touch your robot in the middle of the field, like if you have to interfere.
I see. So it's like basically you have the field, right? And then one robot goes at a time, or is it like all of them at one time, or how does it work?
So each robot has its own field, and we're only allowed to have one brain, so that's just what controls all the programs and what tells the motors when to turn. And we're allowed to have 4 motors and 4 sensors.
And every
Oh, okay.
year, typically they have 2 tables. So how the robot game works is they have 6 tables running at the same time for each 2.5 minute session. They're paired in groups of 2, and there's always a shared mission every year where the teams can work together to complete a mission. This year,
Nice.
the bocce mission where the teams work together to send the same color block to the other table. However, because of COVID, they had to eliminate that. All of our competitions are virtual, and so they
Oh,
just created it such that you get credit for the shared mission if you do your half of it. The assumption is that the other team that would be there would do the other half for you.
okay.
Yeah.
And then the two teams are put up against each other, and then whoever gets the most points moves on, or is it like
Well, so they always try to encourage core values between the teams. So it's just whatever your score is put in the leaderboard. And so you're not actually directly competing with the team next to you. They just put it that way so then you can cooperate with them and like send over the same colored cube.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice.
You got to submit like 3 runs, or at a competition you would do 3 runs, and whatever your highest score is, what you place on the leaderboard. But for example, you tied with someone, then your other ones would come into play. Your
I
point
see.
total.
All right, that makes sense. I like that. So it's not like you directly competing with somebody else and then like put them down. It's just basically you can work together so that both of the teams can do really well in the end.
Mhm.
One of the things that I think it was last year, there was a situation where, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think it was Cryptic Cookies. I also coached a different team a few years ago, Tech Heads, but there's a situation where the team was at the top of the leaderboard and they had one more run, and they had a situation where if they completed the shared mission, it would give the other team additional 60 points or something and would place that team above the Cryptic Cookies in the leaderboard. And the team talked about it, and really talked about whether they wanted to do that, and I was so proud of them because they remembered the core value mission, which is competition for the sake of improving everyone, and so they chose to complete that mission and did place that team above them in the leaderboard. But FLL is really, it's a you're judged based on all three areas: project, core values, and the robot game. And so it's not all about the robot game. And I feel like they showed really good core values when they chose to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, that's the best call to like, do.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. So like, that's awesome that they put the core values ahead of like the competition and everything. And that's the same thing with FRC, right? Like gracious professionalism and then cooperation are like core values. So like, even though you compete with other teams, it's very important that um, we like as a FRC or FLO or like as first, we like help each other, right? Like in the pits when our robots are like banged up and we need help, like other team members from other teams can like sometimes come and then help us out. I don't know how that's gonna work with COVID and like all of that now, but uh, that's how it used to work. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's actually why this is my 8th year coaching FLL, and the reason why I stick with it because the value to the kids is not winning at a tournament, which my kids, these teams have done, but that's second to them. What's more important is the teamwork and learning the skills and working together. And that's what's been amazing. I start with these kids when they're as young as 3rd grade, and the concept of core values and trusting your team members is a little difficult, but by the time now they're in 7th grade, it's second nature to them. And that's what makes it so worth it to me to be a coach for FLL, because seeing that growth and the emphasis on those things that are important. My other team that I coached before, the Tech Heads, they're now juniors in high school and thinking about college essays and that they're going to, or application essays. And the thing, one of them was going to write about that team in particular was a state champion. But they're not writing about that in their college essay. What they're writing about is the time when the robot completely fell apart and failed, and how they had to come together in 30 minutes. And like one of the team members accidentally deleted the entire program off the robot. And
Oh no.
yes, it was interesting. And they had to come together in 30 minutes and redo it all. And it was such an amazing, powerful experience for them. And that's what they're writing about. It's not the winning, it's the learning to trust each other and realize that they can rely on each other and that they can do it if they put their mind to it.
Yeah, like I just joined the team this year. I was on a other team previously, and like because of the way that first works in the core values, like I already feel like I've like known these people way longer than like I don't know 6 months or something.
Yeah. I think that's like that core value, right, of like family or whatever that first wants us to all like feel like the team is basically like some of your best friends like the people on our team right now. I'm like really good friends with them. So it's like basically it's not like I'm coming in to work on a robot. It's I'm coming in to work on a robot with my friends, and it's like a lot of fun to do that. So yeah.
That's great. You were asking about how this works in the time of COVID, and that has been one of the saddest parts about this season is that we don't have the opportunity to engage with the other teams at tournaments. And in fact, that's how we met Ani, who was a new member this year. At the state tournament last year, our teams bonded and had a lot of fun together, and that's been hard. But the coaches have really worked hard to try to give that experience to the teams. And we do that by sharing videos of our robot or, runs of our robot, or we share our presentation with other teams and things like that. We're trying really hard to make sure that the teams have an opportunity to meet with each other. For the state tournament, they created what they're calling the e-pits, where the teams can upload their robot runs, upload their project presentation, and upload just information about the teams and silly pictures. And so while they can't interact in person, they at least each team can go and look at the other team's pits, which has been nice.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So what would you say is like the biggest challenge for the pandemic, other than like communication, like the unexpected challenge that you didn't really think was going to be that much of a problem?
Well, I would say from the coach's perspective, I was thinking about this, and my biggest concern. So our team met 100% on Zoom, and from the beginning, and my biggest concern was that the kids already were spending 5 days a week on Zoom and remote school. And then we typically meet for 3 hours on Sundays, and then also some additional time as the tournaments get closer. And I just felt very concerned about having these poor kids sit on Zoom for another 3 hours during their weekend. So what I did was I shortened the team meeting to 2 hours, and then we started every team meeting with a game, and I didn't even get on at the time. I wanted them to have time to be on Zoom without me, and they played this game called Scribble.io, and I would hear them laughing and laughing for like 15 minutes, and then we would have our meeting. But I made sure to have lots of breaks, and I would actually ask them to turn off their cameras and get away from the screen for 5 minutes and move around, because I felt it was very important to me that they had a chance to do that, particularly since the topic this year is being more physically active. And I think all of us have been less physically active in some ways because we're spending so much time on Zoom. So,
Yeah.
And then the other thing we did is that I assigned a lot more outside homework to the team, which I normally didn't do. But so the kids on their own would have to do homework during the week and then present it. And to make that happen, they really utilize Google Drive, and they have. In fact, I just had to buy more storage for my Google because they've been filling it all up with everything. They have so much stuff in there, which is fine. It's wonderful. But so that's what I did. But it's interesting because I was thinking there have been some added bits of flexibility because of being meeting through Zoom. The season was delayed this year, so the kids have been struggling with trying to fit meetings and tournaments around soccer games and baseball games. And so it was not uncommon for we'd have a kid join our Zoom meeting like in the car driving back from a baseball game. Or, and the other nice thing was, well, remember that meeting we had with Hannah where she was driving back from Oregon and she kept going in and out of service. So we were trying to practice our presentation and suddenly she'd freeze. and then we'd have to wait like 3 minutes till she got to a better place on the highway, and then she'd come back. But the other thing that was interesting too is that it actually, I think, made it easier for the kids to meet with experts, because the experts were like, "Sure, I can meet with you on Zoom. That's super easy." And we often did it on Sunday afternoons. The experts were just, these were scientists from Fred Hutch or something, and they would say, "Yeah, I'll just remote in from my, my home office." And so that was a great benefit in some ways. But anyway, what did you guys think were the biggest challenges?
Well, I guess sometimes there's problems that during the robot game where you don't agree with the scoring, and it's kind of hard to communicate with the refs during that time. But also that doesn't happen that often now because we're able to like zoom in on every mission and show clearly what happened and how it should be.
You have video proof now.
Yeah. The other thing that was a bit challenging is, so on the day that we had to submit our robot runs, we couldn't upload the file because you have to do this like whole spiel before the 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So it's like this really long video, and Google Drive doesn't want to take it, and we can't email it to each other. So we just spent like a bunch of time trying to figure out how to upload it because we couldn't like take it from our phone and put it on our computer and submit it. And there was a lot of issues with that.
Remember, it was due at 7:00, and it was like 6:30, 6:40, 6:55. It was getting so nerve-wracking. We finally got it up.
How did you guys manage to do it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
It just worked.
We just prayed at the end. We just prayed to the robot gods, and somehow
I think
finally
we
went up.
emailed it. Didn't we email it to like?
I think we ended up using like Google Photos or something and like accessing it from our computer or something. I don't know, but we ended up having to use like a Mac to do it. I don't know.
Did you guys have to do it on iPhone or something? Like from an iPhone?
Yeah, the problem was that it was trying to convert from like a Apple format or to a well, so I think that it wanted to be downloaded as an MP4, and iPhones do not take video in that format. So I think that was the problem.
But
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about how, because we had to record the runs outside. Well, we were in the garage, but with every window and door open, and it was so cold. So cold. They were freezing and trying to operate the robot with frozen fingers. It was pretty funny.
And wearing our shirts.
Yeah, we were just like in between robot runs, we'd all like huddle around the heater and we'd be like freezing because we were like wearing our shirts so that we don't so that we're representing our team, but then we're like freezing. And it was like on a school night. I think it was like a Monday night, and it was like really late.
So like, that's pretty funny. Like, this is why I think all standards should be like all video standards should be standardized. So like you don't run into this problem. Like just everyone, can you not use MP4 or something?
Yeah. Why do you need .mov and all those other weird versions?
Exactly. Just use MP4. It works, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how hard was it to get everyone to like follow COVID regulation? Because like I know that for our school and stuff, that's like what their biggest worry was for like children and for like high schoolers. Because like once you see your friends, who cares about COVID, right? So yeah, how hard was it to like get everyone accustomed to wearing a mask all the time, trying to stay away from each other, hand sanitizer and everything?
Well, so we just started doing in-person meetings like a week ago now. And at this point, we most of the people on our team have been going to in-person school at that point. So they're already kind of accustomed to having to be socially distanced. And we also have most of our meetings outside, which can help with that as well.
Yeah, it was not too hard because we started out meeting remotely, so that wasn't an issue. And then by the time we started meeting in person, which really was just been about 2 weeks ago, the kids are so used to wearing masks, and we don't. But we used to have snacks at the meetings. I don't do snacks anymore. Even though we're wearing masks, we're pretty much always outside or in the garage with all the doors and windows open. I will tell you, they're acting like they're very good at this, but there's one place where they're not so good at social distancing, which is on our trampoline. One of the breaks they take is all 6 of them tumble onto my trampoline and sound like, there's squeals of laughter and they're having so much fun, but I swear at some point, I'm so afraid someone's going to break something. But
no, we're not. It's goggable.
They hurl the ball at each other. And I just kind of hide in the house and hope everyone's safe.
It's goggable though.
But they're still wearing masks the whole time.
And at one point there was a car, so like if you like went up against the net, you like almost hit the car. And we have like,
there was a car?
It's like this. Yeah. There's like
in the trampoline?
No, on the outside.
Okay.
You have to explain that, Ronnie.
Planted in the driveway.
I promise I really am a good adult, a responsible adult, but we are redoing our backyard. That has been our COVID project, my husband and I. So we, by hand, took out all the backyard, the sod. So we had to move the trampoline onto our driveway, which is slanted. And I had no intent for the kids to get in the trampoline on a slanted driveway.
It's not that hard.
But they did.
Like
and then our car is parked behind the trampoline. So, yeah, anyway. But they're all wearing masks when they're on the trampoline.
And it was completely safe.
Works.
No one ever got hurt.
Completely
And
safe. There's a net.
It's usually pretty windy over there.
Yeah.
It's pretty windy.
With all the
The
airplanes.
trampoline just flies across. Like a Mary Poppins adventure.
Yes.
Just goes with everyone in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Happens all the time.
Happens all the time, yeah. So, yeah. Are there any unique ways that students embrace the situation for COVID and like just like being at home?
Well, Hannah embraces the fact that she has some pet bunnies, and so she will hold them up, and we will get to look at her bunnies, pretzel and mochi. So that is
Pretzel and Moji attend our Zoom meetings with her. It's kind of the highlight. She has these bunnies, and they're potty trained. They stay in her house just like a cat would, and they're pretty cute. And so they come to the Zoom meetings with us or with Hannah.
That's awesome. That's like, I think that's the best way to embrace the meeting. Like sometimes our teachers like stroke their cats while like on the class and stuff, and it's like, all right, I'm actually gonna pay attention to class now.
Yeah.
There's a cat. I'll pay attention.
Yeah.
I'm an attorney, and we had a hearing yesterday, and a dog came scurrying into. The guy had his screen, with those virtual screens on the back, so it made it look like he was in an office or something. But the next thing you know, this big yellow lab comes tearing through and sticks his head in and starts panting. It was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
There's lots of funny Zoom videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's this one where they had I think it was some lawyer had this really weird filter on or something, and it made him like a cat.
Filter. Yeah. That one's amazing.
Yeah.
He goes, I can assure you I'm not a cat.
That
was the best part
of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there any other moments or something that you guys want to highlight on our highlight today that you guys really enjoyed?
Well, I'm trying to think of one of the things they had to do is, rather than giving their presentation live for the judges, they record their presentation and then submit it to the judges. And then during the tournament, the judges watch the presentation in the first 5 minutes, and then they come on and they have a live Zoom session between the judges and the team, and the judges ask them questions and whatnot. And there have been some pretty funny incidents with trying to record the presentation. Yeah, I mean, they just.
There was one where there was just like a big loud boom in the background. And I think it was Clara made like a really funny face.
But she kept going. It was pretty impressive. Yeah. Like Clara's doing her part, and all of a sudden there's this boom, and Clara's eyes get wide, but she just keeps going. There's a time that Hannah couldn't stop laughing, but kept talking for 30 seconds while laughing. Those have been fun. I wish that I had kept them as a blooper reel to do that. But yeah.
Another thing though, this season is like in all the previous seasons we've had, so all the judging, core values judging, robot design judging, and the project, innovative project judging, we're in separate rooms with separate judges. But so like you're at the area that the tournament happens, and then you just go down this hallway and into a room with the judges. And but now for this season, they decided to incorporate it all into one room with the same judges. So they have 4 judges, and we present our presentations, and we just go through every single category instead of having them be separated.
Yeah, and also usually at in-person things, for the core values judging, they usually have you do like some sort of puzzle or solve like something as like a team to see how you like work together as a team. And so this year they don't have that, because usually like one time it was like make an airplane or something like that, and so we can't really do that this year. And so instead it's more of just Q&A style.
But it's true, the judges are also learning too on how to, judge over Zoom and whatnot. And we were, I think, one of the very first teams at the very first tournament, and I wasn't there because I was on the session, but the kids told me that, well, Ani, you can explain what happened. The judges came in and just kind of stared at you for a while.
Since this didn't really happen before, we weren't really sure what was how it would go, but we thought that the judges would have watched our video before, but then we were kind of confused because they seemed like they didn't. So then we just made sure they did, and then just proceeded on.
Like, I think they expected the judges to start with questions. Instead, the judges just came in and said, "Hi, I'm Pete," and just looked at them. And so the kids kind of had to stumble for a few seconds till they got, into sync, and it worked out. But it's just because, I'm sure the judges were just trying to figure it out too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you guys prefer doing your presentation live or doing the recording?
I prefer doing live because I don't know, like in past years I've done skits, and I know last year you guys had your like big boat, and so you can have like more props, and it's like it's in a way almost more comedic. It's less serious and PowerPointy. But I do think online does have some advantages. I mean, I personally like working on PowerPoints a lot, so there's that.
Make the PowerPoints look nice.
Yes.
Also, with the live presentations, you can kind of tell if the judges don't quite understand parts of it, and then you can kind of, in the questioning, bring that out and make it more clear, which is helpful. But with the
That's
recording,
true.
they watch it without you being in the room, so it's a bit harder.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do like live presentations, but I feel like recording, like you're able to do it multiple times to get it just right with like timing and everything. So it makes it like a little bit. Uh, it has its advantages as well.
Yeah, we incorporate like lots of videos of our robot into our presentation and lots of like pictures so they can like really see the different elements.
Yeah,
one challenge has been, though, they are limited for the project presentation, it's limited to 5 minutes. But when you do it live, there's a little bit of give and take on that, right? If the judges can tell that you're about ready to conclude your presentation and maybe you're at 5 minutes, 15 seconds, there's some leeway there, right? But when you pre-record the presentation and they open it up and they see it's beyond 5 minutes, that doesn't work. So they've had to work very hard this year to get all of the information they want to convey down into 5 minutes. They did a ton of research this year, ran a couple experiments, 2 experiments, and really wanted to get that information out. And 5 minutes isn't much time, so it's been a challenge for them to do that.
yeah, and like right now, I think that that skill of just like making everything concise is very useful as for like essays now that I have to do. Like I'm always over and I have to like cut it down and I have to know which parts I need to like remove. And I think that skill is very useful and I would have preferred to been able to like hone the skill like younger at a younger age. And I think that's like awesome that you guys are doing it then, especially for college essays too. Like half of them are like 250 or 400 words. Like, and I'm supposed to put my entire personality in that time. Like, all right,
Well, if
makes
you
it
have a flat
difficult.
personality, that should be enough words for you.
Yeah.
So, are you guys going to be competing in person at all? Do you think this year, or is it
Uh,
all virtual?
no, we're not. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even have like because most of our teams here are like high school based. Our schools don't allow us to go and like work on the robot, right? Maybe some community based teams could get away with it, like FLL. I know you guys have like smaller size teams, right? So
Yeah.
it's easier to like meet. We have 60 members, so I don't, and then we have a very small workshop, and I not like all of them can't fit in there at all. So yeah, we're still working on that. We might be able to meet in May, but that's still a might. So we're probably not going to do in-person competitions.
Yeah, your team is so big. Our team is 6 people. The minimum is 2 people and the maximum is 10 people.
I see. I don't know what the minimum is for FRC, and I don't know what the maximum is either. So it's just like somewhere around there, you know.
Yeah.
I think we're one of the larger size teams.
It would be really fun, though, to be able to come watch you guys compete next year if you are able to do it in
Yeah,
person.
that'd be so much fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they normally have the competitions just on the same, like at state. I think they have FRC there too.
That's FTC.
Oh, that's FTC.
That's
Where's
actually,
FRC
yeah.
then?
FRC, I think the season happens after the FTC and FLL season. Yeah. But
Yeah, there's a lot of people who do FTC and FRC because of that.
yeah.
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 So the Cryptic Cookies were selected to go to Worlds last year in Houston. And we were excited because that's good. My understanding is that the competition in Houston happens at the same time as FRC. So they were going to be able to see a lot of FRC teams. In fact, they made a huge boat the size of a minivan for their project skit. And I wasn't really sure how we were going to get that boat to Houston, but an FRC team offered to, I guess there's some FRC teams that take semi trucks down to Houston. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and so they offered to take the boat for us, which was very nice. But then unfortunately it was canceled, as you all know. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think, oh, so you guys were already selected for Worlds by the time like they canceled it?
Yeah.
Okay.
FLL
So I guess it is
happens,
earlier.
yeah, it happens earlier. So I think
Yeah.
they knew by February that they were selected for Worlds. And then right around March, I started trying to prepare the kids for the possibility that it would be canceled. And it was really hard and really heartbreaking when it was canceled.
We
They-
even started designing our pit.
Yeah, but they did have the opportunity to do something different that maybe Ben can tell you about, which is there is a team. I don't know if you're familiar with it. They're called Not the Droids You're Looking For. And that team won Worlds a couple times, FLL Worlds a couple times. And they created this huge website, Facebook page, where they is a huge worldwide community. And they felt very bad for the teams that had FL teams that were not able to go to Worlds that qualified. And so they created what they called the Virtual Open Invitational. And the Cryptic Cookies were invited to participate in it. I think it was 50 teams from around the world, which was really fun because they got to meet teams from Brazil and Argentina and Japan. The thing that was really interesting about it is they had the robot game, but they ran it live. And so we had to live stream the robot game, and then there was a judge from Scotland and a judge from Canada watching our live stream.
That was one from Ireland too.
In Ireland, yeah, and watching the live stream as we ran the robot run. And so we got immediate feedback, and that was so fun. But I felt sorry for the organizers because they had to deal with every single time zone, right?
Oh yeah, time zone.
Yeah, I think we had to run our robot at 3 a.m. at one point or something. I can't remember. It was just, yeah. Do you want to talk about it though, Ben? You participated in it. What was that like?
Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting because since there's teams from different parts of the world, they had us make a video that like talks about where your team is from. So we got to make a video about Seattle, and that was fun. And it was interesting to see all the different cities that teams were from.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, like the experiences of like people like outside of America for like FRC and like robotics and stuff. Because we were talking with this team I think from Turkey, and they were like, yeah, we have to plan for like all of our products and stuff for being shipped late because they have to like ship everything from America or whatever, and it takes a long time for them to like do it. So a lot of parts get there late, so they have to like adapt to that and stuff like that. So I found that like it's quite interesting, like the differences in like how they built their robot and how they approach their year and stuff.
So you mean the FRC teams have to ship their robot from, say, Turkey to Houston?
Yeah, like that.
And those robots
And they
are
also have to
huge.
ship parts too.
Yeah. It must be so expensive.
In FLL, I'm pretty sure the international teams, their age goes up to like 16 because, for example, all the teams that go to Worlds, they have to do all their presentations and Q&A in English. So because of that, the language barrier, they're allowed to have like more time, and they don't get like a translator or anything.
Okay. So like for FLL here, how like what's the age? From what age to what age is the range?
I'm not exactly sure what age, but I think it's around 14 because next year will be our last year.
Yeah.
8th grade.
It's like, I think it's either 3rd or 4th grade to like 8th grade.
Okay. All right. And then the year after that, feel free to join Saints Robotics if you go to Interlake High School. What high school are you guys going to at least? Do you guys know?
We are not sure yet now.
They're in 7th
I
grade.
don't know yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
I do not know yet.
It is time to, I'm trying to poach some kids here. You guys seem very smart.
I think that'd be a pretty long commute for them. We're in the Ballard Magnolia area.
Okay.
Aren't you guys on? Is that?
We'll make it work.
Okay.
send us a private helicopter,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. That'd be awesome. So yeah, be sure to look into FRC teams. They're like at your high school if you guys are like next year, just scout around, I guess. Uh, yeah, that'd be awesome to like. So are you guys gonna do FTC or FRC? Is that like which one? Which way are you guys gonna go, or both? You guys could do both as well.
Well, I think a lot of the high schools I'm looking at least the one my brother goes to, they only have FTC because they're like a smaller school, and so I think it'll probably depend on the size of the school.
I see. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, well, I agree with that. I think it would be the best to try to do both but I don't know if I will be able to do that. But I agree with Ani. It depends on what school I go to.
His local high school is Ballard High School, and I know they have a large FTC or FRC team. I think they have around 80 kids on that team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think at least when my brother was looking into high schools, he was gonna maybe go to a school that didn't have it, and his local high school, which I'm pretty sure was Lincoln, but he was allowed to join one of the public schools teams as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah. That basically concludes all my questions. This was pretty interesting today. Like I didn't realize you guys have to do so much work for FLL as well. Like talking with researchers is like for me at least, I find it very nervous. Like talking with some big scientists, right? So yeah, I'm glad you guys are getting experience with that like right now. So yeah, do you guys have any concluding thoughts or statements or anything like that?
Well, no, it was
I guess
great.
thank you for hosting us on
Yes.
your.
Thank you for
you.
joining us today.
Yeah, it's
So
been
hopefully
great.
you guys had a great time.
Yeah.
So the way that we end our podcast is the same. It's almost the same way that we start it. So we go 3, 2, 1, but then we say robotics break. All right. So that's how we're gonna end it.
Oh.
Do we clap?
So yeah, we clap. We have to clap. That's it.
Okay.
It's a thing.
Okay.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Robotics
Break.
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 Yay!
The timing was so good.
That was the best timing I think we've ever gotten.